This is TechCrunch.
According to a report in Wired, Anthropic has revoked OpenAI's access to its Claude family of AI models. Sources told Wired that OpenAI was connecting Claude to internal tools that allowed the company to compare Claude's performance to its own models in categories like coding, writing, and safety. In a statement provided to TechCrunch, an Anthropic spokesperson said OpenAI's own technical staff were also using our coding tools ahead of the launch of GPT-5, which is apparently a direct violation of our terms of service. Anthropic's commercial terms forbid companies from using Claude to build competing services. However, the company also said it would continue to give OpenAI access for the purposes of benchmarking and safety evaluations. Meanwhile, in a statement of its own, an OpenAI spokesperson described its usage as industry standard and added, "While we respect Anthropic's decision to cut off our API access, it is disappointing considering our API remains available to them." Anthropic executives had already shown resistance to providing access to competitors, with Chief Science Officer Jared Kaplan previously justifying the company's decision to cut off Windsurf, a rumored OpenAI acquisition target subsequently acquired by Cognition, by saying, "I think it would be odd for us to be selling Claude to OpenAI." As Silicon Valley races toward a future where AI agents do most of the software programming, a new problem is created: finding the AI-generated bugs before they are put into production. Even OpenAI is dealing with such issues, as described by a former employee. Newly funded startup PlayerZero has created a solution: use AI agents trained to find and fix problems before the code is put into production. PlayerZero CEO and sole founder Animesh Kuratana created PlayerZero while he was at the Stanford Dawn Lab for machine learning under his advisor and lab founder Matej Zaharia. Zaharia is, of course, a famed developer and the co-founder of Databricks. He created its foundational technology while working on his own doctorate. Last week, PlayerZero announced that it raised a $15 million Series A led by Foundation Capital's Ashu Garg, an early Databricks backer. This follows a $5 million seed led by Green Bay Ventures and several noteworthy angels, including Zaharia, Dropbox CEO Drew Houston, Figma CEO Dylan Field, and Vercel CEO Guillermo Rausch. During his time at Stanford Dawn, Kuratana, who is now 26 years old, was working on AI model compression technology and got exposed to language models really early on. He met the developers who crafted some of the first AI coding assistance tools. It hit him then that there's this world in which computers are going to write the code. It's not going to be humans anymore. Kuratana told TechCrunch that, to him, he saw a world in which computers were going to write the code, and it wasn't going to be humans anymore. And what would the world look like at that point? He knew before the term AI slop was even coined that these agents were going to produce code that broke things just as their human overseers do. That problem would also be exacerbated by so many agents cranking out so much more code than has ever been written before. It won't always be practical for humans to check all AI-written code for bugs or hallucinations. And the issue becomes even more intense for the large, complex code bases that enterprises rely upon. Kuratana said that PlayerZero trains models that really deeply understand code bases and understand the way they're built, the way they're architected. His tech studies the history of an enterprise's bugs, issues, and solutions. And when something breaks, his product can then figure out why and fix it, and then learn from those mistakes to prevent them from ever happening again. And he likens his product to an immune system for large code bases. Landing Zaharia, his advisor, as an angel was a first step to fundraising, but the moment that really validated his idea was when he showed a demo to another famous developer, Rausch. Now, Rausch is the founder of triple unicorn developer tool company Vercel, and creator of the popular open-source JavaScript framework Next.js. Roush watched Coratana's demo with interest but skepticism, asking how much of it was real. Coratana replied that this was code running in production, like this is a real instance, and he was quiet. Then his soon-to-be angel investor responded, "If you can actually solve this the way that you're imagining, it's a really big deal." Of course, PlayerZero isn't alone in attempting to solve the AI-generated bug problem. Recently, AnySphere's Cursor launched BugBot to detect coding errors. That's just one example. Still, PlayerZero is already gaining traction for its emphasis on large codebases. While it was conceived for a world where agents are the coders, it is currently being used by several large enterprises that use coding copilots. Figma began trading on the New York Stock Exchange last Thursday after a long delay. It soared so quickly that trading was halted for a short time due to market volatility. Within a minute of trading, its market cap hit $45 billion, but the price spent the day bouncing between $101 and as high as $124. It closed at $115.50 and a $47 billion market cap. That's according to Yahoo Finance reports. The company and existing investors sold shares of the IPO price of $33 per share. Quite the pop. And aftermarket trading is still hot with the stock price climbing. There has been so much demand for this stock that people on X were posting funny pictures of their orders being fulfilled by Robinhood. Instead of getting dozens or hundreds of shares as requested, they were allocated one solitary share. One person bragged about getting 17 shares. In any case, the successful IPO means Figma's failed $20 billion acquisition by competitor Adobe back in 2023 is now just a shoulder-shrug footnote in its history. That's all for now. For more stories like these, check out TechCrunch.com.